Cruise news time, and look, it done got wild. This picture right here, what the heck is this? Is it hate or is it a simple mistake? I do have some clarification, and Carnival Cruise Line putting out some information that's making me think about safety, my safety, your safety. Yeah, that plus a whole lot more. Cruise news and my views. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to La Lido Loca. I am your host, Tony, here with the latest cruise news and views for your face on a Thursday, the 23rd of January, 2025. And yeah, can we start with this image? What the heck is going on here? Here's the story. This happened during a Christmas cruise in Australia from the cruise ship, the Pacific Explorer. This cruise ship doing sailings from Melbourne to Hobart. And look, people are just sitting out there on the Lido deck, chillaxing. And all of a sudden, this group of hooded men make their way across the Lido deck. People are like capturing video of it. A hush goes over the crowd because apparently the crowd on that cruise ship recognized what a group of hooded men like this represents when it comes to history. Particularly if you're from the United States, you're probably already thinking about our localized hate group that started here. Yeah, so guess what? That's the crew. Those are crew members from the housekeeping staff. They've been invited to participate in a Christmas time show, and they were told to improvise some costumes. And those are the costumes they improvised. They had to improvise with what they had. So they wore hoods. Now, do you know what they're dressed up as? They're dressed up as upside down snow cones. So yeah, I guess the white part of a snow cone. Look, like I said, people on the cruise ship made the connection, but I don't think these crew members made the connection. Somebody made them hip to it pretty quick, and they got out of that garb. But of course, the internet is forever, and so there's video and there's pictures and all this. P&O immediately issues an apology saying, hey, this is not what was intended. Obviously, these crew members are not intending that. They were just trying to do the thing that they were asked to do and participate in this Christmas time activity. It's wild. Again, this happened halfway across the globe, and certainly, as I say, if you're a North American and and you've been exposed to a lot of history of this country, you understand what that image means. But does that image, is that pervasive across the entire world? Is that hate group well established across the entire world? Maybe. I don't know, but certainly, I guess somebody needs to add that to the crew handbook. Hate images that you do not want to accidentally emulate. I don't know. I don't know how you avoid something like this. It does seem like a simple mistake, but I could be naive to it. Maybe there's something more sinister at play here. What do you guys think? Leave a comment below. Cruise news story number 2, Royal Caribbean Group announcing that they are going to be building a 6th Edge class cruise ship for their Celebrity Cruise brand. It's nicknamed right now Edge 6 or XL2 because its sister ship XL1 is coming out later this year. These are iconic designs. Started with the Celebrity Edge. Beautiful, sleek cruise ship with that orange magic carpet on the side. These are really nice cruise ships, and obviously the success of those cruise ships are leading to more of the same. Celebrity fans, you got to be excited about this one. There's not a name for it yet, and we don't have a lot of details other than the fact they're building it. They're going to build themselves another Celebrity Edge class cruise ship. Edge 6. I'm on the edge of a cruise ship. Shout out Ludacris. Now, let me tell you about one of the biggest challenges of traveling, and especially if you're someone who likes cologne or perfume, it's taking that big bottle of cologne or perfume with you on your cruise. It's cumbersome. It takes up a lot of space. You risk breaking it. Well, look, I've got a solution to your problem, and that's all thanks to the sponsor of today's episode, Scentbird. Scentbird is a fragrance subscription service that allows you to hone in and pick out your signature scent. It also allows you access to an easy 30-day travel vial of cologne or perfume. They've got it all with a curated 700 scent collection with the big names Prada, Versace, independent names like Roja and Parfums de Marly. Anything that you want, you can get there from Scentbird. And like I said, you get it in a very easy to travel dispenser and container. Let me show you a couple scents I got this month. This first one is Zirk Icons Chrome. And I also got the Groomings Lounge One Cool Customer. And notice, like I said, this is enough cologne for 30 days. The cologne and perfume go into one of these travel dispensers. It's got a great locking mechanism so you don't spread your scent unless you want to. You unlock it, a little bit of a spritz. Then you lock it back up and you cruise on to your next destination. Scentbird service $16.95 per month, and you get to pick out one fragrance per month. Now, excitingly, you can try Scentbird for yourself for a discounted price. Scan this QR code or use my code 55LLL for 55% off of your Scentbird subscription. That makes that first month like $8 before it goes to the regular $16.95. A great way to try out Scentbird. Thank you, Scentbird, for sponsoring today's episode. Cruise news story number 3, and this one seems like it could be a Hollywood movie. The world's largest iceberg has broken free, and it's making a northward bound journey from the Antarctic Sea on a direct collision course with the South Georgia island, which is technically, officially, a part of the UK. World's largest iceberg is on a collision course with the UK. Now, the South Georgia island, fortunately, there's no people that live there. It's uninhabited, but there's like the ecosystem, right? Plants and animals. And there's a famous person buried there, Shackleton. Do you know Shackleton? He was on the ship, the Endurance, which Lego just released this Endurance model. And I've recently picked up this book that talks about Shackleton's journey and how he got stuck, locked in ice in Antarctica, and how him and his crew survived. Took years for this guy, no cell phones, or this is back in the day. And he was stuck there for years. Fascinating book. I'll leave a link to that down in the description if you want to pick it up. So no people, that's good. But the problem is this iceberg's so massive, 1,400 square miles, which is the size of Cornwall in the UK, or the size of 2 Londons, 1,400 square miles. If it hits this island, it's going to isolate that island, and there's going to be challenges for the ecosystem there, challenges for any of the wildlife that lives there. And look, I didn't think I would ever be going down this lane where we're talking about giant iceberg collisions, but this ain't the first iceberg that's actually hit the South Georgia island. Back in 2004, another iceberg, A38, hit the island, and you know what it did? It killed penguins. So this ain't no joke. I guess this happens a lot. There was, back in 2023, there was a Wembley Stadium-sized iceberg. Wembley Stadium, Live Aid, that concert, great Queen concert. Wembley Stadium-sized iceberg that had a near miss. So we'll have to track it. Maybe they can send people down there to melt it or something. I don't think that's feasible. Shackleton is about to endure some more ice. Even in his parting. Crazy. Cruise news story number 4 is a story old as time, or at least a story that we've told in the last year or so. Cruise port location says, hey, we're going to jack the taxes up for people visiting our location. And the cruise line responding by going, okay, do that. We will go there less. And look, the cruise lines aren't playing. In 2025, 80 cruises have already been canceled to Iceland. That's right, to Iceland, because the Icelandic government started back on January the 1st of this year imposing a new tax just to cruisers. And they're charging you 2,500 Icelandic kroners per day to go to the Icelandic cruise ports. 2,500 Icelandic kroners per day. I think I've got that conversion rate in my $18. I looked it up. $18 per person, and it's untenable. It's untenable for some cruise lines, and they're canceling stops. Most of the cancellations are happening to the cruise port of Akureyri, and there's another one, Grandafjörður. There's like 70 of the stops are getting canceled out of Akurey, 10 at Grindefjordur. Reykjavik not mentioned at all. I did this Iceland Greenland cruise last year. It was fantastic. Akurey, one of the prettiest places I've ever seen in my life. But there you go. Cruise companies flexing a little bit. Apparently there's enough places for them to go where, you know, they can cancel some stuff if they don't like the ball game that's being played in the local port. And the problem, and kind of the flip side of that, is that if you give in to all of these new taxes at every cruise port that raises one, then other cruise ports are going to raise their taxes, which takes me to the next cruise news story. Guess what? Norway wants to implement a cruise tax just like Iceland. They're like, hey, if they can do it over there in Grindefjordur, then we can do it here in Oslo. Norway, a bigger country, obviously, than Iceland. It gets over 3,400 cruise port calls a year. The Norwegian government, just in the initial phases of this idea of imposing a tax on tourists, so we don't really know how much they're planning to charge or anything like that. But again, maybe that is the broader game that's at play, where these cruise companies have to push back on some of these taxes to prevent everybody from implementing taxes. And then, of course, there's the whole other sovereignty argument that, hey, man, places can charge whatever taxes they want. If you want to come to their place, they get to charge you whatever they want. But again, if you make something unfavorable where people don't want to go there because it's too expensive, then have you shot yourself in the old proverbial foot? That is the question that continues to play out. All right, now we got to talk about this kind of revelation I had when it comes to personal safety, all because of just a simple thing that Carnival said. But before we do that, let me quickly invite you to subscribe. If you like staying up to date with everything going on in cruising, please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. That way you won't miss out on any of these episodes. The whole talk about Norway, it's the song just rolling in my head. I once had a girl, or should I say she once had me. Do you know what the name of that song is? I bet you know who wrote it. Ludacris. Shout out Ludacris. Okay. There's a conversation going on the social media part of Carnival Cruise Line about lanyards. Lanyards. You know, the thing that you wear around your neck, especially on Carnival. You see a lot of people wearing lanyards. They did some sort of poll. 21,000 people answered. 14,000 people, they wear the lanyards. They wear the lanyards, and 7,000 people, they don't wear the lanyards. It's lanyards, but I'm going to keep saying lanyards just to see if I can make anybody mad. 14,000 wear the lanyards, but the follow-up question got interesting. The question is, what do you wear on the lanyard? What do you wear? And many people say, hey, I'll wear my sailing sign, card. That way when I could just go and give it to a bar, just get into my room, that kind of thing. But do you wear your lanyard when you go out to the cruise port? And if you do, is that safe? Is that safe? It's an interesting thing. Many of these cruise ports that you go to, you do feel perfectly safe. And that's good, because it's important for the cruise ports to make you feel safe. Because if you don't feel safe, you're not going to go into a country and explore it and spend money and all that kind of stuff. But does it also make sense to not look like a target? Does it make sense to not look like a tourist? And does your lanyard around your neck with your ship card on it make you look like both of those things? I think it's a fair thing to evaluate. I don't really wear a lanyard anymore. Most of the time, I just put it's the international sign for put my ship card in my pocket, or I'll put it in the bag that I'm carrying. I do like to have my ship card right on me, though. That way, it's the closest to my body, because I don't want to lose my ID and I don't want to lose my ship card when I'm out at port, because that's going to keep me from getting back on the cruise ship. Definitely don't wear it around my neck. I mean, look, I know I look like a tourist. I think most of us look like tourists, but what do you think? Is it unsafe to wear your lanyard on your neck when you go out to a cruise port, or is it much to do about nothing? Boom! That is your cruise news. Do me a solid, just collide into that like button like a rogue iceberg, and don't forget to check out that Scentbird discount, 55% off. Thanks again, Scentbird, for sponsoring today's episode. This is Tony for La Lita Loca, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye. Cruise.